The first point to understand is that they are all one person. Advaitam Achyutam Anamadim Anantarupam. It's one person but many personalities. Many personalities. What this means is that now, when you use the example of God at home and God in office. Now the thing is that the same person cannot be simultaneously at home in office. But God can be at multiple places at the same time. So, with respect to, objective, this term objective and subjective. Objective means what is like measurable. Oh, this person is 5.5 feet tall. This person is 6.5 feet tall. That is objective. Oh, this is such a lovely person. This is such a... I don't like this person. That liking and disliking is subjective. So, in the relationship with the Lord, there is an objective aspect, and that is the tattva. So, in terms of philosophy, Ram and Krishna and Vishnu, they are all the Supreme Lord, and worshipping any of them can give us liberation. So, in terms of tattva, all of them are supreme. Now, when we talk about many personalities, this is subjective. And in this, there is rasa. Rasa means it's an experience. Like say, if you take amras, mango juice. Everybody I like mango juice, but some people say, this is my favorite drink. Somebody else will say, yeah, it's nice, but maybe my favorite drink is something else. There's some moment of subjectivity over it. So in the Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there are cases. There's a story of one of his great devotees, Murari Gupta. He was completely devoted to Lord Ram. And some of the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had to convince him, Krishna is better. You can worship Krishna. And Murari Gupta tried to worship Krishna. He says, I can't, my Lord. My mind is fixed on Lord Ram. He told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was actually very pleased. This is how fixed you are in your devotion. Glorious is the devotee who stays fixed in the devotion to the Lord. So Lord Chaitanya appreciated that. So, I don't think we should go too much into the domain of Krishna is superior and Ram is inferior. It is that both of them are supreme lords. It is that Krishna manifests particular rasa that Ram does not. Does that make Krishna superior, Ram inferior? No, they are both supreme. It's just that these particular mellows, like playing the flute, Nirmadhuri, is what Krishna manifests. So, there is the Bhed and the Abhed. Bhed means there is a difference, Abhed means there is no difference. So it's important that at our level, so there is the Abhed. Abhed means no difference. And Bhed means there is difference. So objectively, there is no difference between all these manifestations. Subjectively, there is difference. When the realities both are there. So if we find that sometimes unnecessarily the Bhed is being emphasized, and that is agitating our mind, then don't focus too much on that. Know that they are the same person. And Lord Ram is also attractive, supremely attractive. And those who worship him can also be liberated.
How to deal with materialists or relatives in our life who ask to eat food not offered to Krishna and to material things?
For all of us, in our practice of Bhakti, in Bhakti practice, there are certain things which are non-negotiable. And there are certain things which are negotiable. Like for example, now all of you wear tilak. Now wear tilak is wonderful. But when you are going to college, do you have to wear tilak at that time? It depends. If you want to, you can. But if you don't wear, that's not necessary. We live in a particular cultural environment. And we don't know if people are going to unnecessarily suspicious or hostile or whatever, then there's no need to. So now, like some of you wear dhoti kurta, some of you wear shirt pant. But when you come to a sacred place, it's nice to wear dhoti kurta. But it's not that if you stop wearing dhoti kurta, you're not practicing on. It's not like that. But say if says, no, I no longer worship Krishna and I'm a devotee. Well, I don't believe in Krishna, but I'm a devotee. That doesn't work. So there are certain activities, certain connects, which are non-negotiable. If I'm saying I'm a Krishna devotee and I say I don't believe in Krishna, that doesn't make any sense. So in Bhakti, there are negotiable and non-negotiable activities. And we would like to follow Bhakti as strictly as possible. But we shouldn't make some of the things, say if our relatives tell us this food is not offered to Krishna, and we say no. And then there's a big fight in the home. And because of the big fight in the home, then they say, you know, you are being fanatical, you are practicing Bhakti, and they want to start chanting Hare Krishna also. And everything becomes a huge ugliness. Then, that's not required. It's better that you focus on chanting Hare Krishna. And other things you will negotiate according to your intelligence. But generally speaking, if you are polite and respectful, you say that I am following certain principles and goes with the tradition. I offer my food to you. So they don't have to simply offer the food. You can cook or you can offer the food. Some adjustments can be done. So rather than simply saying that this is the material thing I am not doing, we have to keep things in perspective. So it's like for doing a thing of second level importance, we should not create such a big agitation of mind that we can't go first level. I hope this principle is clear. Say, like I was in Bangladesh a few weeks ago. Now in Bangladesh also we have devotees, we have temples. But now there are Hindu areas where we can go and do Kirtan also. But if we go into the Muslim areas and start doing Kirtan over there, we have to preach to them. They are going to get very agitated and maybe they will come and attack us. So then what will we do? We would like to preach to everyone. But in that particular situation, that is going to cause too much agitation. So, now if some Muslims themselves are interested, that's a different thing. But we all have to function in particular societies, particular contexts. So we have to use our intelligence to see how best we can function in the particular places we are at. So don't let your core Bhakti principles be disturbed. But otherwise use your intelligence to find out how best we can move on. Is it finished? The questions? So you can read out, even if the projector is not there. Yeah, and I also have questions.
Prabhu, I have a question.
Okay.
Like in past we have seen different many gurus like Bhagavad-gita and Bhagavad-gita, Lord Buddha, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So how can we infer that the philosophy Chaitanya Charan Prabhu gave is the best philosophy? And if it is the best philosophy, then what about the followers of Bhagavad-gita, Buddha and all? How will they get liberation and God?
Okay. See, there's a difference between something being the best and something being capable of giving liberation. The two are different things. It's like if you consider a mountain, it is a low. This is spiritual consciousness at the top of the mountain. This is material consciousness at the bottom of the mountain. Now, there can be different paths up the mountain. Somebody who says only my paths will take us up the mountain. Well, not necessarily. But somebody says all paths will take you up the mountain. Not necessarily. Some paths will take you down into a valley also. Is it? Some paths will just go round and round the mountain. So basically, in spiritual paths, we can have two extremes. One is what is called as exclusivist. Exclusivist is the idea that we have exclusive rights to God. If you don't follow our path, you are going to go to hell. The exclusivism is generally in thought, in belief. Because of the exclusivists, they also become, some of them, they become extremists. You have heard about extremists? So extremists are actually kinder than exclusivists. They say, not only are you going to go to hell, will help you get there faster. So this is exclusivism. And the Vedic tradition is not exclusivist. Krishna doesn't say that my way or the highway. She says, Mama Vartamanu Vartante Ushya Bharata Sarasha. All people are my paths. You know, the other extreme is to say pluralist. Pluralist means basically all paths are right. Now if we say all paths are right, a more common notion in India is that all paths lead to the same goal. Now, if literally it were to all paths lead to the same goal, Prabhupada asked this question that somebody said, I don't know the verse, but Krishna says all paths lead to the same goal. Prabhupada said, if that were true, then why does Krishna have to speak the Gita? Whatever Arjuna does, he will come to Krishna. Whether he finds it or not find, whatever he does. Krishna speaks the Gita. Krishna is recommending certain course of action and not recommending certain course of action. So clearly it's not that simple. So here basically what is happening is this goes down to relativism. Relativism means you believe what you want, I believe what I want. And pluralism, often in Hindu tradition is taught to be pluralism, but it is not. Now in between these two is inclusivism. Inclusivism means that there is one purpose that includes many paths. Not all paths, but many paths. It's like if you go back over here, the one purpose is to go to the top of the mountain. That one purpose can include many paths. You can go up this way, you can go up this way, you can go up this way. So basically, the broad Vedic tradition is inclusivist. It does say, for example, there are certain actions which will take us away from God. There are certain actions which will take us towards hellish conditions. It's not that all paths lead to the same goal. There are different choices and they have different consequences that come with those choices. So, we do acknowledge that there are multiple paths of the mountain. And what is because of the Vedic tradition? Even outside the Vedic tradition. Prabhupada said Jesus is our Guru, but because he has so much love for God that he was ready to give up his life for the sake of God. So there can be spiritual growth that can happen through paths outside the Vedic tradition also. And what is because inside the Vedic tradition. So now, when we are going up the mountain, each particular path might have its features. That say there are 4 paths up a mountain or 10 paths up a mountain. We go to the Himalayas. Somebody wants to go to Mount Everest. Different paths. And does that mean all paths are the same, even if they are going to the same destination? Not necessarily. Maybe one path is more accessible in summer, one path is more accessible in winter, one path is more accessible in another spring season or whatever. It depends. So, when we say that the Gaudiya tradition, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is special, that does not mean that people who are not following the Sri Sampradaya or Madhu Sampradaya, they cannot get it. They follow and develop love of God, of course they can be liberated. At the same time, this is a particular part of the mountain where there are certain features which are especially make spirituality accessible. There is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by which we get a very clear view of the top. See, sometimes we are going up the top, but it's all, the path is shrouded by heavy greenery. You can't see the top. But here we have a clear vision of the divine loving relationship of Radha and Krishna. So that particular vision of divinity is not so clearly given in other traditions. In the Harinam Sankirtan, that particular way of worshipping the Lord and experiencing ecstasy thereby, through dancing and singing, that is special. That is given by Mahaprabhu. There are some special features that are there over there, and they are important. But that doesn't mean that everything else is not important.
How do we keep faith in paramparas like Premanand Maharaj coming from Nepal Sampradaya and giving chanting other than Hare Krishna Mahamantra like Radhe Radhe. So how should I increase faith in Srila Prabhupada and understand which parampara is authorized?
So, generally, whenever there is any particular spiritual teacher, there is a lot of, for those who are hearing from that teacher, those who have found something inspiring, there is a lot of personal emotion invested. So, my focus here won't be on a specific teacher, but our principle. See, spiritual influence, cultural influence, devotional influence. These are all different things. There could be some teacher who sings very nice kirtans or who inspires people in a particular way. And if anyway someone is getting someone to chant the name of Krishna or the same name of Radha, that is good. It is to be appreciated. In this world, so many people are doing so many mundane things. Someone is inspiring someone to chant the name of the Lord or the goddess of God or the Lord's consort. It's good. So that's one perspective of the thing, that people are being elevated. Now the other perspective is to explain an example that, say, a parent has 2 children. One of them is very good, the student gets 90% marks. The other scrapes through and gets 40% marks. So now, say today results have come and both of them have got 65%. Now what will happen is, the parent will say for one who has come from 40 to 60%, well done, shabash. But the other child will say, what have you done, badmash. Now, why the difference is both of us got the same marks? Yes, both of you got the same marks, but you come from different places. From 90 to 65 is not very good. It's quite bad. But from 40 to 65 is great. It's a big improvement. So for somebody who is not chanting anything, for them to chant Radharani's name is great. That elevating from 40 to 65%. At the same time, the challenge is that when somebody is teaching something, see, in many other traditions across India, Bhakti is often mixed with Advaita. So that means the same teachers who talk about Bhakti and chanting of the holy name and glorifying the Lord at one moment, another moment, another session, they talk also, actually, Hamsa Bhagwan will be known now, but merge into the Lord. So now that is not the teaching of the Bhakti tradition. If the devotee doesn't want to merge into the Lord, the Bhakti means there is no urge to merge. There is no urge to merge. But unfortunately, many of the teachers, they will talk about Bhakti, but another time they talk about impersonalism, they talk about how we are, hum sabhi Bhagwan hai, we are not different. So the precise philosophical teachings we do not know. And in general, if we focus on Srila Prabhupada, we get philosophical clarity. And then if there are particular spiritual teachers, maybe our family is following, maybe we were following before, or we have specific questions about, then at a one-to-one level, we can talk with our particular spiritual teacher, spiritual guides. And if they don't know, they can talk with their seniors. You can ask them to, you can tell some senior who knows that particular teacher or that particular tradition. And then we can talk specifics with them.
I don't like to learn shloka, but I want to understand philosophy. I don't feel much enthusiasm studying scriptures. Rather, I enthusiastically do kirtan, dance, serve and chant. I enjoy it. What should I do?
Well, if you are attracted to something in Krishna Bhakti, that's one. Just make sure that what you are attracted to, you do it steadily. Yena kena prakarena mana Krishna nature. Somehow or other fix the mind of Krishna. So if you are attracted to serving, that's auspicious. So that will help us grow. At the same time, in any relationship that we are trying to develop, a part of the relationship is that we put the other person first. That means when we enter into a relationship with someone, sometimes we may have to do certain things which we do not like to do, which we need to do for the pleasure of that person. The same principle applies here. So, we don't have to memorize a lot of shlokas, but if you want to understand philosophy, you need to study over here. The key thing is, rather than thinking I don't like, or I like, or likes, we don't have to be like our likes. What do I mean? That our likes can also evolve. We don't have to be. Our likes can also evolve. So rather than thinking I don't like philosophy or I don't like shlokas, try to associate with devotees who love shlokas. And try to understand what is the sweetness in that, what do you get in that. And then what happens is sometimes we think, say I am here and say a shloka book is here. So most of the time we think of desire as linear. Linear means that we see an object and we get the desire for the object. But quite often desires are actually triangular. What does that mean? That if somebody else loves shlokas, then seeing that we get the desire to also memorize shlokas. So in most visible things, say if we pass by a sweet shop, we see a sweet and get the desire to eat it. But in many things, the desires don't come linear. Now how many people pass by a gym and think, okay, I have to do a workout? Not many people get a desire. But if they see a friend who's going to the gym and coming out and that person has become very fit, he's looking very healthy, hey, we can also go to the gym. So the desire comes not just seen by seeing an exercise machine. It's seen by somebody who is exercising. So like that, try to see in your circle if there are any devotees who like shlokas. Try to see in your circle some devotees who love the philosophy, especially if you can connect to those devotees. Then you say, okay, what is the reason that you get in this? What is that you are attracted to? And by that, you find that it becomes much easier for you to connect, to develop that particular desire. So, it's coming. No, the people is coming now. Oh, please go ahead.
How do we define 40%, 50% and so on level of Bhakti? As we say, if we finish as 40% in this life and we start from 41% in the next life.
Yes, we cannot define like that. It's just an example given. Bhakti is not mathematical. But mathematics can give us some pointer to a Bhakti. The example is given now. Shakha Chandra Nyaya. Shakha is basically branches. Chandra is moon. So Shakha Chandra Nyaya means the small child here and mother wants to show the child a tree. Sorry, a moon. Now there is a tree over here and maybe there are branches here. Forgive my drawing. So now if there is a moon over here, now what happens is the child is shown this branch, the child is shown this branch, and in between the branch, can you see the shining object? Yeah, that is the, oh, I saw the moon. Now the child says, okay, I'll climb on the tree and I'll catch the moon. Well, no, although the moon appears to be in between the two branches, the moon is very far away. So like that, material metaphors when we use, especially mathematical metaphors, they point us toward the idea. The principle is that if we have developed an attraction for Krishna, that attraction will not be lost. We will find that attraction manifesting rapidly in the next life and will continue from that point onwards.
How to deal with juniors, peers, seniors and spiritual masters?
The juniors, we try to be kind to them. We try to help them as much as we can. With peers, we try to share and learn. We try to share realizations. With seniors, we take guidance. Generally, with respect to very senior devoted spiritual masters, we offer them our respects and we get an opportunity to service. We look forward to that opportunity to serve. Next.
In which ashram is it easy to develop prema?
We discuss this as well.
In Ajamila story, Yamdodas came to take soul to hell for punishing the soul because of his sinful activities. What is the purpose of punishment?
What is the purpose of punishment? Some of you may pick this question itself as a punishment now. It's going a long time. Finish this view on this. Generally speaking, the Mahabharata describes that whenever there is any punishment, see, whenever there are three purposes of the punishment. So, if you consider, say there is a victim, there is a victimizer, and there are other people. So these are the three stakeholders in any activity that is going on. So generally speaking, say if any crime happens, so there are three purposes. For the victimizer, there has to be some retribution. Retribution means that, okay, you hurt someone, you need to be punished. I'll explain why. For the victim, there has to be some reparation. Reparation means you were hurt, so there's some compensation for it. Reparation. And for the society, there has to be regulation. Regulation means if one person commits crime and they get away with it, then what will happen? Others will think we'll also do crime. So society has to be regulated. So the purpose of punishing a wrongdoer is to broadly serve these three purposes. That when लातों के भूत बातों से नहीं मानते. We try to translate this into English. What happens? The ghost of pigs don't learn by words. It doesn't make any sense. But the point is that there are some people who just don't learn by words. So they have to be punished. But the purpose of hell is to give this one particular purpose, retribution. That those who are not going to learn, they are taken away from the rest of society so that they don't become a bad influence for society. They don't become a bad example for others, they don't continue to harm others. And then when the consequences of their actions are given to them, that becomes a part of their learning process. Now that alone may not be enough, but that's an essential part of their learning process.
If it is for purification, does our soul come back to material world and forgets everything? Then what is the purpose of punishing our souls in hell?
Well, the whole universe is like a university. The whole purpose of this university, it's a university of adversity. Adversity means distress, pain. So in this, it is adversity that makes us turn towards God. Makes us think, what am I supposed to do? Is there some higher purpose to life? So, university of adversity. Now, while this world is a place of trouble, and everybody is ultimately going to go towards Krishna, But there are some people who cause more trouble than others in this world. Krishna wants order to be established in this world also. So, if we consider the world to be like a hospital, and the purpose of a hospital is that everybody should be discharged. Then they become healthy and they go back. But if somebody is disruptive in a hospital, then what may happen is they will be taken from the hospital. They also have to be treated, but at that particular time, maybe they have to put in a restricted ward. Sometimes if the mental health care center is there, and some people are just going mad and manic and violent, then they are put confined in particular places where they just can't harm anyone. So hell is even that is within the hospital, like solitary confinement or a solitary cell or whatever unit is there. That is also in the hospital, but that is for patients who are so violent that even the normal functioning of the hospital can't happen. So hell is like that. So then they have to come out of that, they start behaving normally, the doctors are giving normal treatment, and then gradually they'll become evil and they'll come out. Stop. So thank you very much for your patience. And yes, we have many more questions remaining, but
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
that wants to make sense. So we will have sessions in the future also, and we can talk at that time. Okay? So thank you very much for your full participation. Shri Prabhupada ki Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki Gaur Prabhupada.